hilltop in Tacoma. Everyone who knows me knows that I am a proud lifelong resident of the gritty city I'm proud to call home. But, I was raised by a single mother of three, and we were poor. I mean, my mom was on and off welfare for most of my childhood, and it wasn't because she didn't work. My mom wasn't lazy. Often she worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs before school started and around the holidays when money was especially tight. But hard work often isn't enough because something would inevitably happen. I remember the time we all got sick and did the thing that kids do. We didn't get sick all at once, but rather back to back to back. And she didn't have paid sick leave. So since she didn't work, she didn't get paid. Since she didn't get paid, she couldn't pay the rent. So for a while we were homeless, had to go back on welfare. Sometimes she'd quit because the working conditions were bad. And it wasn't until she got a union job that she had real economic dignity and security for the first time in her life. She had a job she could count on, a paycheck on the 10th and the 25th of every month. And, we went from free lunch to reduced lunch. We didn't make a lot of money, but she had the confidence that comes from having a job she knew she could count on. But what that meant in our community is that we were then the place where often our friends would come when they didn't have a place to stay. And sometimes it was for a night or two, and sometimes it was for a couple weeks or more. But because she had a good union job and we had economic stability, we were able to provide stability for our neighbors and other folks in our community. And so I think that experience has informed the way I view the importance of economic justice, what it means to have a good union job, and what it means to have the security and the stability of knowing that you have a place to sleep and lay your head every night. Well, I am so proud of the labor movement for supporting this important Initiative 1. And, the Constitution of the Washington State Labor Council charges us, and this is a quote, with fighting the forces that seek to undermine the democratic institutions of our nation and to enslave the human soul. And so our fight is about more than just wages, benefits, and working conditions. Our fight is about the issues that matter to the whole worker, to the whole community, and to entire families. And housing security, and rather housing insecurity, is a big issue for workers. More and more workers are unable to live in the communities where they serve and where they work. They have to commute further. This has a compounding impact on our environment, a compounding impact on whether or not they can access affordable childcare in their community, whether or not they can get off work in time to attend children's events and support family members in other activities. So housing insecurity touches so many areas of a worker's life. It is absolutely a labor issue, and I'm proud that our labor movement has endorsed Initiative 1. The question, I think, for Tacoma voters is what kind of community do we want to live in? And what kind of culture do we want in our gritty little city? I'm proud to be a lifelong resident of this gritty city. I am proud of the working class culture that we have in the city of Tacoma. And without these tenant rights and without these tenant protections, we run the risk of becoming another Seattle. And no one in Tacoma wants that. That's not why we live in Tacoma. That's not why we love Tacoma. And if we want to maintain our rich culture and our rich sense of community, we have to make sure that folks can continue to stay in their communities and stay housed in those communities. And that's what Initiative 1 does. I would say that politics is like water, and it follows the path of least resistance. And our job as the residents and the voters in the city of Tacoma is to make sure that our rights as tenants are not that path of least resistance. And that there may be lawmakers who aren't on board with this issue yet, but we know that the power of the people is strong, and the power of the people will always prevail.